to the Faith and Real Estate Podcast. I am so excited for our first episode, and I want to thank all of the people that have already started to follow us, everyone that has already started to connect so that they can be part of this. This is a space for everyone from our real estate community to our friends and family, and even our past clients, which also become part of our family. So, thank you so much. Everyone is welcome here. We are going to be meshing our faith and real estate, which is what we do on a daily basis. So, a little background on how we got here. During 2021, God kind of pulled me out of my daily life. He pulled me out of my routines. I remember that I got off of social media for almost a year. I moved to another city and I started to ask some hard questions about my life, my purpose, and what I'm here to do. Prior to that, I was going about my life, doing my job to the best of my ability, helping families get into homes and accomplish their home ownership dreams, just like we all do, and just enjoying the blessings that come from that, the financial gain, the prosperity, the ability to for my family to enjoy things that are good and noble and beautiful. But there was definitely more to it. During this time of sitting with God, of getting to know Him not just as that God, the one who blesses me, the one who provides for me, but also the one that is my counselor, the one that is my guide, the one that is my creator, the one that knows all things, even those that I don't know, the one that is my maker, the one that understands what I'm made of, who understands what he made me for. And when we go back to the source after realizing that really nothing else can satisfy, nothing else can fill that void, even things that are not necessarily bad, they could be good things. When we realize that those things don't necessarily fulfill us, comes a great disappointment. And we start to look for answers and we start to ask hard questions. There is something more, there is something bigger than what I do on a daily basis, than my job, my career, my goals, my family, my finances. So this time really allowed me to put things into perspective of what is it that we do and what is the impact that it actually has on those that we get to connect with through our business, through our careers, through our talents and everything that God has given us to work with. So, while I was on this journey with God, he took me back to where it all started, took me back to when I got into real estate. And I remember that at that time in my life, I was a student. I was in college trying to pursue a degree in business administration. And I got into real estate really mostly as a plan B. It wasn't my main thing. It wasn't something that I felt like I was passionate about, or that I felt like I could be good at. I even remember telling people, I don't think I would be good at this, because I see that real estate agents have to be really sociable people and really just talk to everybody and just be like a social butterfly. And I don't feel like maybe I fit that criteria. And I remember the person that was talking me into getting into real estate, which was my family member, my brother-in-law. He said, it's really not about what you think it is. It's really more about service than it is about sales. So I said, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And this is all to resume to tell you that sometimes we think we know which path we need to go, but uh, I believe God really orders our steps. We can sometimes go in our own and try to figure out our own life and our own plans, but when we align with God, something beautiful really happens. So I remember when I went to take my test the first time, I actually didn't pass it. I went a second time. No shame on anyone that has not passed a real estate test the first time. It does not determine how good you're going to do, anyways. But I remember when I went back for my second test and I actually passed it, I remember sitting in my car and I felt this rush of emotion. I felt I started to cry, just feeling this gratefulness and this just this peace and this joy about what had just happened. And it was something that to this day I remember, and it really marked my life. In my natural circumstances, this wasn't my plan A, and it was not something that I was necessarily super excited about. It was a plan B, a contingency, but that was not God's plan. God's plan was for that to come to happen because a lot was going to unravel from that. And a little bit after that, my husband, who was deployed in Afghanistan at that time, he was in the army, returned, and he also got into real estate. He got into the home inspection business and started to do amazingly good in a very short amount of time, which was also an indication that we were on the right track, that this is what God wanted us to do. But we started to tap into all these blessings, all these new levels of things that were coming to us. I remember my first year, I sold 13 homes, which was really good. And I was really happy with, because I was able to even make more money than what I was making in my job prior to that, working 40, 50 hours a week. So definitely took a turn for our lives. But as I continued in this walk, but not having God as the center of my life, what started to happen was that all of these other things that were good and noble and beautiful started to take that place that belongs to God. That place where He is our main satisfaction, where He is our main goal, where He is the one that makes it all happen. Obviously, everything requires effort on our end, but He is the one that really makes it all happen. Because if we think about the resources that we have to do the things that we do, all come from Him. We are utilizing what has already been given to us and turning it into something. But we are not the creators or the initiators of anything. We are not even the creators or initiators of our own lives. We come with a manual. We come with a manufacturer. We come with a creator that knows us better than we even know ourselves. There's always something in our life that we are making a God, whether it is a person, whether it's a relationship, whether it is a job, a success, a family member, an idea. We can make all of these things idols in our lives. An idol is something that is the object of your worship, the object of your devotion, which this we are wired as humans to do. Wired to desire to worship something. And when we don't have a relationship with God, when we don't know Him, when we've just heard about Him and have let everyone else's opinion of Him become ours instead of experiencing it for ourselves, then we are really just going to do what we're designed to do, which is to find something to worship. And that is where we come to be disappointed and come to a place of unsatisfaction. And it is really something so beautiful and so simple that when you come to God and you find that place where so little is required of you and everything that is needed was already done from Him for you, with His death, burial, and resurrection, where He showed us Himself, where He died for our sins, which was the thing that was separating us from Him, when He gave Himself to us when we didn't deserve or earned it, then we know that everything has really been given, and it's really more about receiving that than trying to be a perfect person in order to have a relationship with God. We definitely want to start to cut the thread that separates faith and real estate. We know that there isn't really a dividing line because He is the maker of it all. We put those dividing lines because of our own ideas. But that line, it's human made. As a matter of fact, our faith is really the engine to everything we do, because your business performance flows from your beliefs, from your values. It's your operating system of your business is your faith. So there is no such thing as your business and your faith. This is faith and real estate. This podcast is intended for everyone that is a real estate professional in any area of real estate, from real estate agents to real estate brokers to property managers to home inspectors to title companies to lenders, to everyone involved in the real estate transaction. That is or isn't a person of faith doesn't really matter. This is a space where maybe you are not a person of faith, but maybe you can get inspiration, you can get practical tools if faith is not what you're here for. There is a revelation that God gave me that has carried me through a preparation season to come to this, to bring this to life. I want to read a passage that really resonated with me, and it's Genesis 1:28, and it reads, "Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over it, over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over every living thing that moves on the earth." So, as we see from the beginning in God's word, it expressly commands us to subdue the earth, to make it ours. The word subdue can have different meanings, but mostly what it refers to is to take dominion, to conquer it, to make yourself rule over it. So given that the earth is our inheritance given to us from God, to populate it, to be fruitful, to multiply, to take dominion of it, to establish ourselves in it, to conquer it. What we do as real estate agents is more than helping people buy and sell real estate. What we're helping families do and clients do is really exchange an inheritance that God has already given all of us. But we are constantly helping people transfer ownership from one to another, which with ownership also comes dominion, also comes authority over that space. When you buy a home, you're not only buying the structure that is sitting on it, you're buying the land underneath it, which there is only a limited supply of. There is not more land being made anywhere. There is a limited supply, and we are being stewards of what was already given to us by our Creator and the Creator of that earth as well. When we do our job just with a narrow vision of what we're doing and making it really just about us, we miss the bigger picture of what God is trying to do, of how God is trying to move, of how God is trying to establish families, where, how, and when. And if we are in alignment with His voice, in alignment with Him, then we can know how to better guide, how to better steward all the people that He puts in our lives for us to guide during this moment in their life in which they're deciding where they're going to live for the time given and what is the best option, the best place for them to buy. Because when they buy a home, they're not just buying that piece of land, they're also being connected to a community, they're being connected to everything that is around them, and is also affecting their lives in a much greater way than just their specific plot of land and their home that is sitting on it. Their lives are being changed by this transaction that we get to help them in. The word dominion in Hebrew is kavash, which implies placing one's foot on something, symbolizing control or conquest. Another Hebrew word is rada, which also relates to dominion, emphasizing ruling or governing. And to close up, I want to read from the National Association of Real Estate Professionals, mostly known as NAR, which is the association that regulates all real estate professionals on a national level. I want to read a portion of the Code of Ethics, which is the core beliefs of all that call ourselves realtors, and the values that we are to abide by. And it's gonna sound familiar to what we just talked about. So this is what it says. Under all is the land, upon its wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend the survival and growth of free institutions and our civilizations. Realtors should recognize that the interests of the nation and its citizens require the highest and best use of the land and the widest distribution of land ownership. They require the creation of adequate housing, the building of functioning cities, the development of productive industries and farms, and the preservation of the healthful environment. Such interests impose obligations beyond the ordinary commerce. They impose grave social responsibility and a patriotic duty to which realtors should dedicate themselves, and for which they should be diligent in preparing themselves. Realtors, therefore, are zealous to maintain and improve the standards of their calling and share with their fellow realtors a common responsibility for its integrity and honor. The term realtors has come to connotate competency, fairness, and high integrity in business relations. Not inducement of profit and not instruction from clients can ever justify departure from this ideal. That is all for the first episode of the Faith and Real Estate Podcast. I am excited to continue the conversation and to grow in this journey of faith and real estate. Bye.